Consumer prices have been on a downward spiral for the last couple of months thanks to the easing of inflation driven by better pricing of agricultural products due to the rains last year. But the buying power of Kenyans on the ground is far from improved. Our business reporter Nina Shaban set out to find out and compiled the following report on our weekly segment On the Money.
It's devastating.
Kula kimungumungu, sasa ngine watoke kula shule hivyo. Ni hivyo. Tukipata kaunga kama ni uji, kila mtu apate kanusu siku ipite. Maisha ni ngumu by the way.
Not to mention that consumer prices have been on a downward spiral, with inflation easing from a 5-year high of 9.6% in the month of November 2022 to just about 6.9% in January 2024. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the numbers are attributable to some ease on pricing of basic commodities, mostly foodstuffs such as maize and milk, thanks to the rains the country received last year. Unfortunately, on the ground, it is a different story, and we sought to find out why. In all the 25 years of living in Mukuru Kayaba, a slum conveniently sandwiched between their industrial area and South B Estate, Beatrice Ndage says life has never been this tough.
Ukosefu wa kazi ilianza mwezi wa 10. Bila watu walianza mambo kwenda nyumbani nini.
A stone throw away from Beatrice, we meet Zainab Awinja. The widow heads a family of 7 in this humble abode. 48-year-old Zainab relocated from Western Kenya to the capital, Nairobi, 30 years ago when her late husband secured a job in the city. Zainab does casual jobs, that is when she can find any. She says finding a job nowadays is extremely hard. And the middle class she works for has staggered the jobs or gotten alternatives altogether. This is the new harsh reality millions of ordinary Kenyans like Ndage and Zainab fondly describe as hustlers by President William Ruto, who are grappling with a high cost of living amidst dwindling job opportunities from businesses and rich homes weighed down by high taxes and a weak exchange rate.
Sai maisha imekuwa ngumu. Hata unajua zamani ulikuwa unaweza enda kutembea ukata ukapata mtakupatia kitu, lakini hata saa hii hata wadosi hawezi kupatia kitu. Sasa inabidi tu uvumilie. Pia unaona hata kazi yenyewe hakuna, hata kama umelea watoto wenyewe hakuna kazi. Hao watoto bado wanakaa tu na wanatafutanga tu wanarudi.
And while one would think this is an issue that affects only commoners, a chat with those in the middle class painted almost the same picture. No business for the middle class automatically affects the hoi polloi, as it's the middle class that the poor depend on for work. The payslip for unemployed middle class has been viciously raided by government. Increased compulsory statutory deductions through the introduction of a housing levy and the proposed 2.75% contributions towards a new social healthcare scheme has left salaried workers with less disposable income at the end of the month. This has had a knock-on effect on the economic fortunes of the poor families, such as those of Ndage and Awinja, who depend on increased spending by the middle class for survival. To tame the high prices, the Central Bank of Kenya, in its last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, continued to tighten the benchmark lending rates that now stands at 13%, up from 12.5% in the last meeting in December 2023.
It is my view now that the exchange rate has overshot the equilibrium rate. So there could be scope for central bank to support the exchange rate going forward. However, having said that, we do believe that some of the action that we have taken as the Monetary Policy Committee, the increasing of the CBR by 50 basis points should serve to strengthen the exchange rate.
The CBK is concerned that inflation has remained stuck in the upper bound of its target range of between 5% and 7.5%. The ideal target range for the CBK would be the lower bound of between 2.5% and 5%, which is why the CBK has been tightening its benchmark lending rate. The CBK is especially concerned with the continued pressures on the exchange rate, which has necessitated further action to stabilize prices.
It's important to distinguish where is this demand, this inflation coming from. And if you analyze carefully, you will find that there are two main drivers. There's the food and there's the energy. Food, I think, is way above that. I think we're going to 7, and energy is at about 14. Our economy being import-driven, the cost of importing, the cost of importing has gone high.
Kenyans now remain at the mercy of the government, hoping for better days to come sooner.
I think we'll see a bit of stability, particularly in the second half, from June to December. I believe inflation will be contained. Right now we are seeing it's already within the upper band. And if the shilling is stabilized, it means also the imported inflation will be stabilized. So I see a situation where inflation will be contained, but economic activity will be subdued.
But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. A weak shilling, which has been a major source of inflationary pressure, has surprisingly gained some ground against the dollar. By the end of trading on Wednesday, the shilling was exchanging at 144.5 units against the dollar, a huge improvement from an all-time low of 164.35 units just over 2 weeks ago. Kenya, being a net importer, strengthening of the shilling offers relief to middle-class families who have been forced to spend more on fuel, for example, due to exchange depreciation. But this is not enough. Ifandage and Awinja were to start getting the Mama-Fua jobs that have lately been elusive. Their employers in South Bay and other middle-class estates have to be relieved of the taxation burden that has reduced disposable income. Nina Shaban, NTV.